All right, so one of the great things about working on this project was I got to know Queenie Winehouse a little bit better, but I didn't really know her that well when we first started working on the thing. So there was a moment when we were sending an email to the poets, and then we reached the closing part of the email, and I was trying to make it formal, I guess, and I think I was trying to say something like respectfully yours, and Queenie said, yo, we have to spell respect the black people way, R-E-S-P-E-K. And at that moment I knew. So, Queenie, enough respect. So I have a confession. I don't write poetry, I don't speak poetry, I don't edit poetry, I don't do poetry, I don't breathe poetry, I don't live poetry. I spit poetry. And there are rules to this spit. So here now are the 7 laws of spit. This is the shortest poem I've ever spitten, and I don't have it memorized. Or is it just an excuse to show off this attractive book? 7 laws of spit. Number 1, spit not in the wind. Number 2, be not too proud to spit your truth out loud. Number 3, as a man thinketh, so too he spitteth. Number 4, spit not lest ye be spit upon. Number 5, the best spitter is a better listener. Number 6, actions spit harder than words. Number 7, a word spat is a bond intact. So I grew up in a place called Sherwood Park, Alberta, which is just north of here, and it's actually east of Edmonton. And back in the day, I grew up, that neighborhood is a hamlet. It's actually the biggest hamlet in the world, but it's a hockey town, really. And I was hanging out with my 2 best friends, who were the other 2 black people in Sherwood Park. And we had a brilliant idea, and we said, let's just start a rap group, because it's the right thing to do. And back in those days, there was a band, there was like a group called Crisscross. I don't know if you guys remember Crisscross. Right, and their thing was, oh, we're going to wear our clothes backwards, right? And that was their thing. And we're like, yo, Crisscross is whack. So what we did is we had a group, and there are 3 of us, and we all played like basketball and did other stuff, so we called ourselves Triple Threat. And we're like, we're going to wear our clothes inside out. So I'm just going to do a short verse from that dynasty. It's like, there's like Wu-Tang, and then there was Triple Threat. You guys never, we were underground. We were like deep on the underground. So can I get a soul snap? All right. So this is big ups to Andre Bashim Forrester. Big ups to Courtesy Santiago. This is it. In to the out, to the out, to the in. Now it's time for Triple Threat to begin. It was a very short-lived project. We broke up a week later due to creative differences. We all like the same girl. Okay. So can I get that soul snap going again? All right, see, this is good. When you have a critical mass of black people, rhythm is no problem. All right. I reminisce for a spell about that first night we met. I'll never forget, your beauty will remind me. So let's rewind the soul, clapping hands of time, and find the words for our black history. It's no mystery. You listened to me as I spoke from underneath the griot tree. At the end of the night, you walked up to me with a smile so bright it shocked me. So which part of Jamaica you come from? I was impressed by your blessed assumption. We got together 2 birds of a feather. Our hearts took flight like love at first sight. We started walking, then we started talking. Not before long, our lips started locking. You asked me, so what do you do? And this is what I said to you. No man is an island, but I, man, is a nomad. I travel through the sand from place to place by warping time and bending space. Abandoned on a strange land, I had my pen and my pad, surrounded by an ocean of lies. And at that time, I saw the floodwaters started to rise. And then I looked into her eyes. Into her eyes, I was drowning from what I despised. And then I looked into her eyes. Into her eyes, I saw the floodwaters started to rise. And then I looked into her eyes. Into her eyes, I was drowning from what I despised. And then I looked into her eyes, into her eyes, into her eyes. So up in Edmonton, there is a professional hockey team known as the Oilers. And I grew up watching a dynasty of 5 Stanley Cups. So sorry, Calgary, but that's just what it is. So this is like my throwback poem to the days when we were in school and we were on the playground and we were doing our thing. And yeah, this is what it was. So can I kick it? Yeah. Can I kick it? Yeah. Can I kick it? Back in the day, dreaming about schoolyard sports leagues. We played football in the field, dodgeball in the court, b-ball on the court, football in the field, dodgeball in the gym, b-ball in the court, hockey in the street, tetherball with our hands, soccer, baseball with our feet, tag with the girls, or sometimes hide and seek. But whatever the sport was, our youthful spirit could not be beat like poetry in perpetual motion. We were always playing, practicing our low-end theory. Can I kick it? Yes, you can. Of all the games we mastered, the ones played during the winter school season were the best. The buzzer rang for recess like a wrong answer on that student quiz show on Access Television. The ultimate test amongst the suburban princes of the 5th and 6th grade was soccer hockey, the sheet of ice where champions were made in the city that hoisted Stanley Cups like the snow cones we ate with that thick blue and orange oil syrup. Here's how it is played. Clear the snow off a roughly rectangular sheet of ice. Find a netminder. Ideally have 2 skill guys, 2 defensemen, and 1 grinder. The object of the game is to kick the puck into the other team's snowbank meshed net and accumulate more goals than your opponent by the end of recess. Can I kick it? Yeah, you can. Yes, you take a can, stand it up, then crush it with the heel of your insulated boots. I preferred cross trainers. What you lose in warmth, you make up for in speed and agility. Soccer hockey is a terrific test in balance, endurance, athletic ability, and tenacity. Competitive fire and ice whenever the gloves are dropped. More than one junior juice got popped. But what you lose in teeth, you make up for in respect. When you come to the soccer hockey patch of ice, you better come correct. Can I kick it? And those days were always colder under the bright blue sky, when the omnipotent orange sun was a freshly popped cork of champagne, and we drank out of the same cans our heroes did and crushed them with the heels of our youth. So where do we go now? Back to class? That temporary off-season in between the real reason we were at school, learning lifelong lessons with the boys on the bus. But the only question for us was, can I kick it? Yes, you can. Thank you. All right, so this poem I was working on a little bit in Banff. I was there last week hanging out with Tanya Evanson and her fantastic assembly of poets and faculty. And it's kind of an epic poem, but this is just the first part. It's called King Pharaoh and the Owl. So feel free to keep the rhythm. I suggest a snap. But what I need to know is, people, are you listening? Yeah. People, can you hear? Oh, yeah. Or do you fear what I'm about to say? In a very ancient existence, there were people that persisted in establishing a beautiful land. And in this place there was a king that hailed from the land of the Nubian, and he ruled with a mighty black hand. His name was Taharka, and knowledge was his river that flowed like the powerful Nile. And in this great nation, he fertilized the population with wisdom to every man, woman, and child. Now Taharka had a council that he trusted with his life, and that was the royal priesthood. He looked at his great nation and was content with his creation, and he decided that everything was good. His next order of business was to produce an heir to carry on the royal bloodlines, and though he bedded many women, only one was his queen, and it was with her that he planted seeds divine. While asleep in his chambers, the king had a dream that would change the way we all perceive reality. The king saw a bird with glowing golden eyes. It was perched on a date tree in the middle of the night. What manner of beast is this? Its appearance is quite foul. Little did the king know it was an all-seeing owl. Who might you be? The owl asked the king. Taharka stood up straight and was appalled to even have to answer him. I am everything and everything is me. I rule over this entire nation that you see. The owl was not impressed. Who was all he could say? The mighty Nubian Pharaoh threw his hands up in dismay. Taharka was clearly angered by the beast perched in the tree. He said, only I possess the sacred knowledge of 12 royal priests. Who? The owl said. Taharka kicked and cursed. Finally, he decided to tell the owl the secrets of the universe. He told the owl the histories of the peoples of the earth. He told the owl the mysteries of gold and what it's worth. He told the owl the reason for the movement of the sun. He told the owl the cosmic connection between constellations. He told the owl of knowledge on the dark side of the moon. He told the owl of music that was played with divine tunes. He told the owl the powers of the stars and sky above. He told the owl the philosophies of time, hate, and love. He told the owl of strategy to be used in war and peace. All these things he told the owl in the innocence of sleep. And while the king slept, the owl flew all night. The owl unraveled the spirals of time with his newly acquired sight. The owl stole our precious metal. The owl hid us from the sun. The owl sent in its spies to suppress the soul rebellion. The owl commandeered our music and changed its frequency. The owl colonized our land and deceived us of our history. The owl sent in its soldiers to kill the righteous and the pure. The owl released disease to which there is to be no cure. The owl initiated conflict and witnessed kingdoms fall. The owl observed war, death, hate. The owl saw it all. And when the owl finished flying from the past into our present, the king finally awoke, only to find he was a peasant. The king only remembered his past life as a dream. He muttered, I was everything and everything was me. I was everything and everything was me. So how did I lose my kingdom to a bird perched in a tree? I must have been a fool to let the owl deceive me and allow my wise rule to turn into ignorant vanity. And it was in this state that I lost my reality, my divine earthly kingdom taken from right before me. The owl has plucked the truth and has transformed them into lies. And with this stolen knowledge, the owl is thought of to be wise. So people, were you listening? Yeah. People, did you hear? Yeah. Or did you fear what I had to say? All right, big ups and much respect to Queenie. Big ups and much respect to David and Rose from Frontenac House. Big ups and much respect to Lynn Cadence. Big ups and much respect to George Elliott Clark and Karina Vernon. And of course to all of the fantabulous poets that were in the book that contributed, that are here tonight. It's been amazing. I'm going to leave you with this last piece of something. It's called, there's a proverb, that is known in Ghana as Sankofa. Se wo refina wo Sankofa a Yankee. Which came first, the chicken or the egg? Go back and fetch the answer from your earliest collected memories. Akashic mind mapping like illustrated children's stories, encoded with symbology like a chicken moving forward to cross the street by looking back at its tail. We speak of this proverb like X marks the spot. It is not taboo to remember what you forgot. Thank you.